最近泰晤士发布了新一期的世界大学排名，不难发现，名校的排名几乎没有什么变动。随着疫情的影响和不断变动的中美时局，想要被美国名校录取可以说是难上加难。越来越多的高校不仅仅看重大家的学术成绩，更重视对学生思考、创新以及解决问题能力的全方面考察。留学路漫漫又如何秒懂名校申请路上的黄金规则？靠什么可以脱颖而出？哪些核心技能你一定要 GET 呢？申请这条路充满着不可预测的条条歪歪，没有什么比名校导师的经验更具有说服力的。今天我们留学路上留学加油站，我们就请到了 Tyt 阶梯启发潜能教育中心特邀的美国名校金牌导师 Hyde， 毕业于南方哈佛的杜克大学，这位学霸给大家来一个通关秘籍，助你成为藤校 Offer 的收割机。Hello, John. Nice to meet you through Zoom.
Yeah, you too, Zhao. Nice to see you.
Welcome to my show, Study Abroad. I am so glad to have you to share your insight about how to get into the Ivy League and the elite college in US, and what is your secret weapon for getting into Duke, but also making best of it. Firstly, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience, and how was your campus life in Duke?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is John Hyde. I'm a Duke University graduate and a former teacher. Duke was an incredible experience. It was my dream school, if I'm going to be honest. It's the number one school I wanted to go to my entire life. And when I got in, I was so excited. I was a big Duke basketball fan, so I went to all the games. And beyond that, the best part was being surrounded by all the incredible people who are doing really eye-opening things. And I feel fortunate that many of those people are still my friends. Besides academics, I was the team captain of the rugby team and a member of a social group at Duke. But I really loved my Duke experience. While I was at Duke, I recognized that many students struggled with writing, myself included. And I noticed this especially among some of the international students that I was friends with. Many of them were learned English as a second language, or English wasn't their primary language. And many of their English backgrounds focused on the grammar and not necessarily the writing. So even though they were very strong in their control of proper grammar and spelling, I noticed that many of these students struggled with the writing process, perhaps even more so than myself and some of my other peers that were coming to Duke from the United States. And this was a big challenge for all of us. And that's also some of the reason why I decided to create a writing class like this, in order to help not only students who just want to improve their writing skills, but also to help international students who are not only applying to the US schools and have to make the difficult adjustment coming from abroad to the US, but also have the additional challenge of being expected to write at the same level as their American-born peers.
That sounds very attractive. Thank you. I know you have taught a lot of students who have made it into great schools, maybe including Duke. So I'm really wondering, what is your secret weapon, and why did you create a specific class to teach it?
So my secret weapon or secret skill is critical writing or academic writing. Now, writing itself is, an academic skill that everyone is familiar with, but I find that it's often not taught very well, and that many students struggle to answer a question or prompt with a well-organized and well-written response that uses the appropriate rhetoric and convincing evidence. Now, as I said, many people are taught writing. Everyone's taught writing in school, but most people aren't taught it well. And that's the real value of my class, my critical writing class.
Mm-hmm. So
And
how does your class seeks to encounter those kind of the challenge?
so my class seeks to teach this super important academic skill by breaking it down to the basics. Even though I consider writing an art, it can be very, at the most basic levels, formulaic. And if you know the patterns that you have to follow, you can create something beautiful. You can communicate your idea and your position in a well-written way with effective prose and effective evidence. So the way my class teaches this, it breaks it down into individual parts. And each lesson focuses on an individual part, and we go over the steps that you need to follow through and take in order to make that a successful portion, whether it's a thesis statement, body paragraph, conclusion, and so on. And once they understand these fundamentals, they can use these skills and apply them to a larger assignment. They can go from 1 page to 2 page to 5 page to 10 page. But this is really about fundamentals and how that you can learn those fundamentals and then apply them on a larger scope.
Because I'm teaching in university, I know the writing has made a lot of challenges to my students. So I wish, even for me, I could take this course way earlier than before I enter into the university. So how do you think who and why the people should choose your course?
Well, I think the reason why people should choose my course is I'm not bashful about this. I know that I'm a really good teacher. I had the privilege of obtaining a great education at Duke, where I also received my teaching training. I've had 3 years of experience as a classroom teacher and 700 plus hours as a private tutor. Throughout all of my teaching and tutoring experience, writing has been an emphasis. So I feel very comfortable teaching it and have a lot of experience teaching it as well. I'm also not interested in Band-Aids. I find that many tutors or teachers are interested in making the student feel good and not necessarily teaching the skill. They want the student to keep coming back and coming back. The way my class is structured, it's to empower the student. So if I've done a good job at the end of the class, the student doesn't have to keep coming back. They might come back for a different skill or a more advanced skill, but they're not coming back for the same thing if I've done my job correctly. And I've had successful students. I've had a Chinese student named David. He moved to the US with his family, and he was really struggling with his grades and his SAT, ACT. We started working together. His grades improved from a C average, or his writing grade improved from a C to an A, and his SAT writing improved by 100 points. I'm currently working with another student named Sumner. His GPA has gone from a 2.5 to a 3.7, and he went from struggling with basic writing assignments and now literally wrote a 40-page paper for fun. Which was, quite a turn of events. And his mom has told me, quote, "We would be lost without you." So I'm very confident in my skills as a teacher. In terms of who should be taking this class, I'm looking for hardworking, dedicated students who are eager to challenge themselves and receive constructive criticism. They should strive for collegiate level writing, and they should be excited about the challenge of crafting and communicating their arguments with effectiveness and conviction.
That's great. And the stories I have heard is very powerful. I can't believe that from C to A. Wow, that will be very impressive. And I guess a lot of the students do need your help. But besides that, I think with a good grade is good. Is wonderful. It helps you to have your dream offer. But generally speaking, what other benefits of improving as a writer? So especially with the critical thinking.
That's a great question. I think writing is perhaps the most important academic skill because it's one that's so transferable outside of academics. Just in high school, it's an important part of the college application process. But even then, as you embark on your career, writing is such an important skill. Obviously, being a better writer, it's going to improve your grades, improve your college application, the way that looks on paper. But an important part of the college application process is the personal statements. And if you can be a good writer, you are more likely to stand out in what's becoming more and more competitive. I've also seen as a small business owner and as someone will call me a digital nomad, the work from home culture and is driven by ideas and how you can communicate those ideas. And being able to write well and develop your critical writing skills is essential in order to be competitive in this job space. Of all the academic skills that I learned, in high school and in college, writing is the single most important skill that I use, and it's the one that I use every day. So I think that improving your writing skills now not only improves your academic outcomes in the immediate future, but can have long-term benefits for you, both applying to college, your academic success in college, but also in your career.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think the writing is lifetime skills, and for this kind of a course, it seems like it's invest once, and then you can benefit for the whole life. So that is why we should take your course. And another question is that I know you graduated from Duke, and Duke is a lot of students' dream school too. So if my audience who are applying to Duke, how should they prepare for themselves to stand out from thousands of competitors I know globally? And what college admission officers really want to see?
So Duke is one of the most competitive schools in the U.S. This past year, they had a 7.7% acceptance rate, which is slightly higher than Harvard and Yale's and slightly lower than UPenn's and Dartmouth's. Duke is looking for students that have an outstanding academic background. They're dedicated to their extracurricular involvements. They've demonstrated leadership. They have a sense of who they are and what they want to accomplish, as well as what ideas they can bring to the campus. Bottom line, it's very competitive. And if you want to maximize your opportunity or your chances of getting into a school like Duke or an Ivy League school, I would highly recommend that you hire a professional college consulting service in order to maximize your chances to stand out amongst the crowd of, as you said, thousands and thousands of yearly applicants. My wife and I actually provide this sort of service, and we provide the support from the very beginning of the college application process to the end. So we can help with the initial college search, just finding, what schools you might be interested in. We can help you plan what classes you want to take and what extracurriculars you should be involved in to make you a competitive candidate. And we can help you with the actual application and the college writing process and so on. We've helped many students in the past, and our students have gotten into Duke University, UNC Chapel Hill, the University of Pennsylvania, Northwestern, Georgetown, and the University of Virginia. In addition, something that college consulting experts can provide is some insider information that some people might not be aware of, especially if you're applying from abroad. So, for example, Duke University is split into the Pratt School of Engineering and the Trinity School of Arts and Science. Pratt is very popular. Biomedical engineering is one of the most popular majors at Duke. The admissions rate to Pratt is actually lower than the admissions rate into Trinity. But there's nothing stopping you from applying to Trinity, and then your first semester at Duke, you can transfer to Pratt. So if you are worried about how competitive it is, I would recommend applying to the Trinity School of Arts and Science, even if you want to be an engineer, and then you can transfer later. This is the sort of information that my wife and I can provide to you as you are on the college application process.
I think no better experience from alumni. You absolutely get the first-hand information than any other people. And what do you think there are common pitfalls of the college application process, especially maybe for international students?
I think that's a great question. I think one of the most common pitfalls, especially for international students, is getting caught up in the brand names. There's so many schools in the United States that don't necessarily show up on the US News and Report's top 10. And especially if you have a good idea of what you're interested in, whether it's a specific major or a specific career path that you want to pursue, there are other options besides Duke, Stanford, Yale, and Harvard. Those are obviously great schools. You can get a great, some of the best education in the world there. But because it is so competitive, it can be difficult to get in. And it would be a mistake to overlook some of these other schools that will also provide a great education and might be not quite so competitive. I think that another common pitfall is many students are not themselves. It's in order to get into these very competitive schools, you have to stand out. And the only way to stand out is to be yourself. And because admissions counselors can see right through that immediately when they're looking through your application. So be yourself and authentically tell your personal story when you're applying. I can't stress that enough. I would also say, have fun and enjoy the process. So many people get so stressed out about this. And this is a fun opportunity. You're picking the school that you're going into. You get a chance to show off and share with all these colleges what you've accomplished and what you've done. And it can be easy to forget the fun aspect of this. I'd say last but not least, if you're serious about improving your writing skills and being a competitive college applicant, I would really recommend that you take my writing course and contact us about our college consulting services.
Thank you so much for your great sharing, John. Many students aim for admission to prestigious college or university, but the supply of the open seats often does not meet the demand from applicants. Earning admissions to the students on this list can be especially difficult. And maybe the COVID-19 pandemic would further inspire real, lasting changes in the highly selective college admission process. No one owns a seat at the top university, and that such opportunities must come to those who work the hardest, the smartest, and the most enthusiastic to realize their full potential. I totally agree with you that every student deserves the individualized support in every aspect of their application, from university selection strategy, test prep, personal statement essay support, to extracurricular mentoring, and the interview practice as well. I wish you all the best to help your students to access a real-time roadmap of their targets and milestones, and eventually to a dream offer. 最后，留学路上祝每一位学生都可以不负韶华，前程似锦。让我们一起努力，把我们的梦想照进现实。